Hey everybody, I wanted to make a video to talk to you guys about something that's really important to me. I didn't just want to make a post about it because I figured this would be a little bit more impactful, and I want there to be more awareness because what I want to talk to you about is affecting millions of people around the world. And in fact, it's what took my dad's life after a long, courageous battle. My dad, as you know, passed away last year from multiple sclerosis, and his story is sad, but also incredible. This is my dad back in the 80s in Germany, and he was a very active guy. He was in the military, camping, partying, just doing, whatever a young guy would do. And at the age of 40, he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and my dad's life completely flip-flopped and changed. My dad has a severe case of MS, and thankfully it affects people differently and varies from person to person who does have the diagnosis. So he went from being able to run and do all those things to losing his balance and needing to rely on a cane, and then needing to rely on arm crutches to help him with his balance and walking. Not much later, my dad needed a manual wheelchair because he had a hard time lifting and moving his legs on his own. And eventually, my dad became a paraplegic. He was unable to move from the waist down because of this disease. The disease is in the brain, and it disrupts the flow of information in the brain, and also from the brain to the body. So it really just screws up in there in your head, and it makes it hard for some people to function in different ways. My dad had a lot of other medical problems because of the MS, but his MS got so bad that eventually the paralysis continued to spread, where it was halfway up his diaphragm. And it was there for a long time, which was great. But the last year of his life, it had gotten really bad, and I knew that time was getting really close, 2 weeks before he died, but I didn't think it was going to happen so quickly. My dad was having a hard time swallowing, so eating food was becoming a choking hazard, and my dad was stuck in bed for like the last 5 to 7 years because he was in so much pain, and he had bed sores, pressure sores. He even had his bone exposed from the sores because they just wouldn't close anymore. There was nothing really that they could do for him. He was in such a painful state every day of his life for the last few years, and it was absolutely torture watching my dad. It was sad, heartbreaking. You never want to see somebody you love have to go through something so horrible, but he had a smile on his face as much as he could to try to work through it. And I think a lot of it, he did that for me and Darlene and other people in his life because he knew it was hard for us to watch him go through that. Memory, there's often times where it almost felt like dementia, where we would hear stories over again, or he would be confused of where he was or who he was talking to. He would get people confused, and it was just like an up and down thing, and it was really hard, but my dad was having difficulty breathing and swallowing, and his diaphragm was becoming more paralyzed, and things were not good for him. So even though I am very heartbroken that my dad is not with us anymore, I am relieved that he is no longer suffering the way he did. MS varies from person to person, like I'd mentioned before, and I have 3 friends, Janelle, Karen, and Ebony, that have also been diagnosed with MS, and I am so grateful that it's not the same for everybody. You hear of like other diseases that are crippling, like you'll know that what to look forward to, you know what's going to happen next, but with MS you don't. It's so different. You just don't know what's going to happen next. It affects everybody so differently. In the comments below, I'm going to post a video of actress Selma Blair, who was recently diagnosed with MS as well. She walks with a cane now because she has balancing issues, and she also suffers from, what is it called? Spasmic dysphoria. So her voice is not the way it used to be. You'll hear that in her interview when she talks about her experience with MS. But she also has a smile on her face, and I believe, being an actress, it's going to bring more awareness because of her and having to go through this. It's awful. 2.3 million people in the world have this disease, and 1 million in the United States alone. And it's continually getting higher and higher, and we don't know where it's coming from. We don't know what's causing it. Is it genetic? Is it something out there? I know Washington State has a really high percentage of MS, and I've heard that it could be related to mold, but it's all speculation. We don't know where it's coming from. A friend and coworker of mine lost her husband shortly after my dad died, and he also had a very severe case of MS like my dad. And I know that it was extremely difficult for her as well to watch him go through all those horrible moments, you know. It's heartbreaking for everybody involved, and I would never wish that on anybody. It's very, very difficult. So anyways, I am going to be doing the MS walk in Folsom, California this weekend. It's totally last minute because I completely spaced on the Sacramento one, and I was hoping that I could get either shares just to spread the awareness, just tell people what MS is and how severe it is and how many people are dealing with it, or if you could contribute $5, $1, 50 cents, whatever, if you could, just to help get those researchers the funds they need to continue to make leadway and headway, or whatever you want to call it, into finding a cure. Right now, they have found ways to maybe slow it down a little bit, but there's no for sure thing yet. But they have been making strides positively forward, and I really want to push that, because this is just not fair. It's horrible, and I want to push for a cure. For every $100 that I get, I am going to pledge to walk and run 5 miles, which isn't a lot, but for me it is. I'm an asthmatic, so that is a lot. But if things change or I get a lot of money to help for this organization, then I will adjust it. I want to do something that makes me work hard, just like I want to push to work towards this as well, if that makes any sense. So anyways, I really appreciate you guys listening, hearing my story. I didn't realize how hard this was going to be without having anything written down, but I hope I got my point across. So thank you for listening. And my friends that have the MS diagnosis right now, I want you to know that I care about you. I am going to fight for you and make it my mission to keep spreading awareness, and know that I care about you. And I hope that you guys will be in remission soon, and you guys don't have to face any hardships. So thank you for listening, and you guys have a great upcoming week. Thanks so much. Bye.